Hey guys, so this episode is going to be the Rise of Skywalker Part 2 review because we couldn't just do one part. But seeing as how the main canon is over for a while, we decided to dive into all things Star Wars and dive into all three trilogies, the trilogy of trilogies. And we even come up with like ideas of how to remake this trilogy. We talk about whether or not there's not enough Knights of Ren, too much Knights of Ren, not enough Broom Boy, too much Broom Boy. So we'll see you in there. Cue the music.
Meanwhile, back on the podcast, four colossal nerds named Saga, Chris, Christina, and Frank have set out to take on a great darkness that has enveloped the world of fandom. With their powers of common sense and the strength to take on even the most butthurt Twitter mobs and insufferable comment section trolls. They fight for truth, objectivity, and nuance in the conversation and debate over fictional made-up shit.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Meanwhile Back on the Podcast. I'm Frank.
I'm Christina.
I'm Chris.
I'm Saga.
Thank you guys for joining us again. We hope you had a wonderful holiday and that you rang in the new year with some people that you love and, drank a lot of champagne and got a little inebriated, a little crazy, a little brave.
Or not. Or
a
if,
little
you
fun.
know, if you had a sober.
Or a little sober. If you had a sober New Year's Eve, hats off to you.
That's all good too.
Hats off to you. I know some people that should have had a sober New Year's Eve.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Oh, I'm not. What the fuck? I'm not.
Where are
I'm
you
not
going
calling
with
anybody
that?
out. I'm not calling anybody out.
It's
I'm just
me.
saying.
It's me.
I'm just saying.
Just thinking of me.
I'm just
I
saying.
should have been
I'm just
sober.
saying. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be sober on New Year's Eve. Or you could do absolutely nothing, like go to bed early, like I did, which was fucking amazing. So there you go.
I was kind of tired at New Year's Eve.
I missed the countdown.
I did too.
Oh,
I did too.
really?
I was playing League of Legends and I'm like,
Oh.
I did too.
and my brother was in my room and I looked over. I'm like, oh,
I-
dude, 12:07. Happy New Year.
Damn. I couldn't miss it. I was in Puerto Rico and I was at this like house party in Puerto Rico and there was salsa dancing everywhere. And I swear it's like in their blood that they all know how to salsa dance. And so like you just couldn't. And then we all had to wear masks because that's a thing.
Cool. What?
And then there was a
That's cool as hell.
countdown and then there's all these fireworks. And then they played that song like Celebrate Good Times. That was the first song of
So-
2020 for me.
So you didn't do your New Year's because it was a different time.
I mean, it was an
I mean,
hour
it was
different.
Oh,
yeah, it's
okay.
not that
Oh.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was in a tropical location,
Not that it
I would have got
matters.
out of bed for the countdown. Okay?
Yeah.
But I was here, right? And I just moved and I was fucking exhausted and I didn't want to do anything. I was just like,
No, I feel you.
We watched our countdown and then we decided to watch countdowns from around the world. And my whole
That's always
family all went to look up their hometowns just to see like how the countdown went in their hometown.
That's cool.
So we were on, we projected Instagram like onto the main TV. And then we were just looking at all these videos from like
that's kind
a
of fun.
country called Macedonia in Europe.
Nice.
And so one city was like the big city. So in the big city, they were just in all those like Euro dance clubs.
That's cool.
And then one of the towns is like a moderate sized town, and there was like a band outside, but then nobody was at the band. We're like, what the hell? It's midnight. Nobody's there. Why is nobody there?
Yeah, that's cool.
And then there was a wedding, so we were making like the next video is a wedding, so
Yeah.
we're making jokes that everyone was at the wedding, and
That's
this
cool.
town doesn't have enough people to have
That's
two
fine.
parties.
That's cool. I had one thing I wanted to do for New Year's, and because I didn't get to do it, I just basically forfeited. And the one thing I wanted to do was, do you guys remember me telling you about that 80s hairband that I saw in Las Vegas on
No.
out on Fremont? No, I didn't tell you about
A
that.
hair band. Oh, like a metal band.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they're called Spandex Nation, and all they play is like 80s covers.
Oh, that's cool.
And
That's
they're
fun.
fucking phenomenal. They're one of the best cover bands I've ever seen in my life,
cool.
right?
I've never seen something like that.
And they were doing a live stream from their show in Las Vegas for New Year's Eve, so people could watch it online, right? And I either wanted to be in Vegas to see the show or I wanted to watch the live stream, and nobody was down to watch the live stream. So
That's too bad.
I was like, I'm going to bed. Fuck it. Peace.
Well, yeah.
So yeah. So this is going to be our second parter to our Rise of Skywalker spoiler special. We hope that you guys are not spoiling the first part by listening to this now. We hope you listen to the first part first. So if you haven't, go back and listen to the first part first, and obviously make sure that you've seen the film. That way we're not going to get any messages from you saying that we spoiled the film for you, because that would be weird and silly. So yeah, guys, let's try and pick up where we left off. We talked a lot about last time. We talked a lot about Kathleen Kennedy's role in terms of the management of this franchise as of late, in terms of the sequel trilogy, and kind of, I think we all agreed that there should have been a consistent creative direction for all three films, and we never got that. And that's kind of probably what put us into the position that we are in now in terms of the final film. Does anybody want to?
I think what we
take
can
it from
also
there?
see is not only that, but Disney's vision being inputted into this more so,
Yeah.
and making it more Disney-esque
Yep.
in certain aspects.
Slash commercial-esque.
I
Well,
know
commercial
where
because they have to sell.
Yeah.
You know?
I know where
You
you're
have to
going
sell.
with this.
Oh,
I
geez.
know
That's
where
what
you're
the
going
JJ
with this.
cut.
This is the rumored. This is going to be the
Oh.
Snyder cut all over again, and then like freaking Frank is going to like freak out, and every time he's going to be like, "Did you see? There's a real." So Jason Momoa saw it. He saw the JJ cut. But apparently out there circulating are rumors of a JJ cut that is
Yeah.
very
Oh, no.
different.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
very different.
A
So apparently,
second holy grail.
apparently
Here
he
we
wanted to
go.
be like 40 minutes longer, which I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
It
No,
was
it's a long
apparently
movie.
over 3 hours. The original.
Well,
cut.
okay. Talking about the duration of the film, okay?
How
The
long
film was
this?
way too fucking short. Way too short. Okay?
Based
2
on
hours.
what happened.
2 hours and 20 minutes was not enough time to tell the stories that need to be told. And you can tell that the film was gutted. Like you
Yeah.
can see in the editing decision, the film was
Yeah.
gutted.
So one of the things that they said they had in this rumored cut is that they had more scenes with Kylo introspection and Rey introspection, sort of coming to terms with things that they have done.
Yeah, that
and
could have made
recognized-
more sense.
So like I think for
having-
Kylo especially, that turn
Yeah.
of his,
yeah.
because we could kind of see it. Like there's no way that like Ben Skywalker was going to be like on his like arc was going to be unfulfilled. He is a Skywalker. I
Yeah.
kind of felt like it was going to end with his death no matter what.
Mhm.
But there's no way that he wasn't going to get a redemption, I think.
It felt abrupt.
But
yeah.
it did feel a little abrupt when it happened. And so I think having those moments of introspection, and from the rumors, apparently like Adam Driver's acting in that was phenomenal, which is obviously not hard to believe. I just saw him
he
in
was
Marriage Story
amazing
2.
on
He's
what we
so
got,
good.
you know? Yeah, he was amazing at what we got.
And apparently no like Rey Kylo kiss was another thing that he did not
Yes.
want, J.J. Abrams.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yes.
I think it made sense. I think there was a lot of build up to that moment. So I don't know. For me, it didn't not make sense. It just didn't make sense that so Rey basically she was in love with the Ben Solo part of him.
Right.
But that only would have worked if they kind of built that up a bit. But
Right,
it felt
right.
ridiculous that it was so abrupt and then she
Right.
kisses him.
Right. Okay, so let's get into the weeds of this JJ cut story because it's fucking crazy, dude. Like, Chris, I know you haven't read what me
no.
and Saba have read, but like, dude, literally people are theorizing. Sorry, there was a guy on Reddit on the Saltier Than Crate on the Saltier Than Crate subreddit who basically said that he's talked to somebody within the production of the film, and he's saying that according to this source, that Disney basically tanked this film on purpose because JJ signed an agreement with WB and Disney and Marvel don't want DC getting back to
I think that's ridiculous.
That's pretty ridiculous.
I do too.
Ridiculous.
I
There's
don't
no way
believe
that's
it.
True.
I don't believe it. I think it's fucking
let him finish.
silly.
Well, I don't understand why people would think that. Go ahead.
So
Sabotage. Disney did it to
yeah,
sabotage.
yeah, they're telling
DC.
to basically
How would sabotaging their own movie.
No, okay,
Yeah.
so well, I'm not saying it's true, dude. I'm just saying that this is the
Rumor.
story that's being offered
okay.
behind all this, right? So they wanted to tank the movie so people would lose faith in JJ, and then DC would lose faith in JJ because Disney got really nervous about JJ getting his hands on something like Superman or Green Lantern and having that be successful. Because if DC can get to the same level as Marvel,
Right.
it's gonna be an all out fucking war.
I just don't. The reason I don't buy that is because I think JJ's credibility is past this right now. Past like
I think so too.
like he.
No, and like they took JJ on late because they needed JJ. There was no way that like Like there was no way that like they took him on that late and went, oh wait, let's tank this movie after. You know what I mean? Like,
But apparently,
he came in really late.
sure. But if you believe what's being said, JJ's cut was a lot better.
Right.
It was a lot more.
So this is all a theory
out.
on why the JJ cut wasn't.
Why it was butchered.
I don't think that motivation is there. I think that it was just bad leadership.
I think that, and I think if this does exist, it might have been more like Disney like interfering more so. So there's another scene that was apparently supposed to be added. So this is another rumored scene. Again, these are rumors. And it's the ending scene. So you know how in the ending scene we saw where Ray is saying, be with me, and we hear voices. Actors that were included were apparently Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, Samuel L. Jackson, and all those people that they weren't meant to be voices. They were actually shot camera footage. And the actors were in costumes, and they were supposed to be surrounding her in like the back, kind of like Avengers style, and sort of between the Sith and them in a sense, and like they were actually supposed to be there as Force ghosts.
I wonder why they would cut that. Maybe it didn't work. Maybe the CGI wasn't.
And remember,
there
Hayden was there was that thing that we talked about where Hayden Christensen and what's the name guy?
Yeah, Ian McDermott.
They couldn't go to this con, and they were like, "No, you can't go together."
Right? Yeah, remember we talked about that,
and we
right?
were like, "Is this a red herring or not?" Like whatever. And if you just hear their voice, like, what's the big deal? Like that's not okay. But like if you were to actually see them there, like and sort of have these Force ghosts present, and then that would kind of lean to the scene where she's using double lightsabers, and I don't really know if you can.
I believe that, and I believe that could have been cut, but it was probably either a timing issue, like they don't want to spend time making it look good, or maybe they couldn't for some reason.
I bet you anything they cut a lot of it because there was definitely evidence of like gutting for sure.
The movie got gutted.
Yeah. And but what I think like the bad decision happened was to make it like introduce all these new characters to make shows out of them.
Yeah.
I think that was added like way later, right? Like because if you really think about it, like a lot of that story could like a lot of the characters that were introduced could have been written in a different way, and it wouldn't have taken a lot to have a different scene that got them to this. So
but Kerry Russell and Dominic Monaghan and who's the guy that played Pride? Richard Grant.
Yeah.
All those guys got announced as part of the cast very quickly,
for sure.
right? So
but I think that's
the new
what they made
were already
room
part
for.
of the story.
No, I'm not saying that they weren't originally written in.
Okay.
But I think that's what that's what got gutted. That's why it got gutted, was because they needed more time with all these characters.
Okay.
Which also there wasn't enough time with all these characters.
But then it sounds like Disney just didn't want it to be a 3-hour movie as well.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
But I also think that they were trying to outdo what they saw as damage from The Last Jedi too. Because from what I've been reading, they weren't happy with obviously the way that people became divided. And JJ wanted, so the rumor is JJ really liked The Last Jedi and he wanted to continue on the story. He wanted to push those threads through his movie.
Should have.
Which he totally should have, right? One of the best decisions that we've ever got in the world of creativity, in the creative aspects of Lucasfilm was to kill the Jedi. One of the best decisions.
What happened? Like, why did they not let him do that then? Whose decision was it to override that?
Disney wanted a safe bet. They wanted to go out. They wanted to finish this trilogy on a financial high note. Right?
Yeah, something about it feels forced. So I would be curious to see the JJ cut. Actually.
Yeah, me too.
Me
too.
Oh no, Frank's gonna start it. He's gonna start the hashtag release JJ cut.
I would watch this movie.
It's already started.
I would watch this with 40 minutes of extra footage. I would actually.
I would watch it on a DVD.
Me too.
And if you think about it, a lot of people's like, I don't really read too many things on other people's criticisms, but like a lot of things I hear are on even just like in my circle of friends is. Like this movie could have been 2 movies, and it
should have been 2 movies.
Apparently that was
suggest that.
And
that was another thing that they were pitching. JJ and Chris Terrio were pitching that.
I also get why they didn't do that either.
Yeah,
because like think about like Harry Potter, right?
It's a trilogy though.
When Harry Potter did that, it was like, oh, it's a money making thing, and the first half of that Harry Potter finale also was like a wasted film because that was a pure like. At least it was perceived as
or
like
they did that with like the Hobbit as well.
Yeah. And it's like it's kind of like a financial risk to do it. First of all, you're splitting your budget, like you're doubling your budget, and like everyone's gonna think that you're just beating a dead horse. But like a lot of people's criticisms were like this should have been 2 movies. Like there was just so much.
Or some of these elements, and if we had a continued storyline, this wouldn't be a problem. But some of these elements should have been sprinkled across the first and the second to lead us there.
Exactly.
We had a lot of new elements added
100%.
right away, which is, and not that I hate all the new elements.
Right.
I don't think the concepts are bad. Like this like Sith Wayfinder kind of thing. But the fact that it was introduced now.
So late, yeah.
There was like a line where Poe says, the Palpatine's back somehow. And it's like that's it.
Yeah. It's like
that's
take our
what
word
everybody
for it. Yeah.
that's what everybody's talking about as like the whole Poe's reaction or Poe's exposition about Palpatine was so fucking stupid.
Like they could have gone into the contingency plan. They could have started talking about that in the second movie. Like, you know how he had a contingency plan, how he had these ideas that, and we talked about this.
Yeah. Operation Cinder.
Operation Cinder, when we were theorizing, like this could be Operation Cinder. If they were able to bring that into it,
that would have made more sense.
That would be like a lot cooler. And it would make sense because it's in the lore.
Yep. But you came up with the perfect ending for Last Jedi, our last conversation about this, and that was ending on the voice of Palpatine echoing through the galaxy with some sort of message of revenge, right?
And I would want to see like the First Order and like the Resistance like surprise, being like, what the fuck? Like we just did this battle and like now we have this thing.
Exactly. And then you and Chris were talking about, you know, having it be the First Order and then Palpatine and then Rey as separate
on a 3-way war.
As separate forces, right?
I really wanted Rey to kill Palpatine too and become evil. I really wanted to see that.
I know, like I didn't want to see the story end on an evil note. That was one of the things I kind of
stay evil.
True.
But it would have been cool if we had a female bad guy.
See, the thing is, like, I definitely agree that I would have liked a bad Rey. Killing Palpatine, I don't think should have been it, because I hate that whole thing where it's like all you have to do is do this one action and now you're evil and no character development needed. It's just a light switch that you have to switch on, and that's what I hated. That whole oh yeah, I have this ancient ritual, and if you kill me, I embody you. It's like, okay, what happened to character development? Like Luke had the character develop, Anakin had the character develop, but like for Rey, it was like, oh, it's just. And Kylo a lot of the time too was just like light switch. I felt like
the struggle was there. I felt like she was responding to the darkness that was calling to her.
That's the thing though. Like there was no character things that made her angry. Everybody was just saying it's in you, but like you can use it if you want. She was
drawn to whatever it was. It was like she's impulsive and curious, and those are like her downfall traits.
That's not evil side.
For me, was like what really carried it though were their acting skills. Like Rey. Like Daisy really is a good actor.
Yeah.
Adam Driver can carry those roles. I like the characters themselves. Like I really like the character, right? I like Finn. I like Poe. I like Kylo. Like they're actually awesome, cool characters. I do agree that the story building around them does seem rushed, and I think that's what you're gonna get when you don't have a continued script, though. You know,
they should have done the 2-parter thing, because what I would have done was I would have had one movie where Kylo's the protagonist, and I would have had one movie where Rey's the protagonist.
That would be dope,
right? And I would follow Kylo's path back to the light, and then I would follow Rey's path to the darkness, and then I would end the final movie, with both of them in some sort of conflict.
Yeah.
No, definitely not making out. Definitely not making out.
That's what made the making out believable, because they kept trying to turn each other. And in real life, when sometimes when you hate someone that much, you end up liking them.
But isn't that relationship just a pure allegory for like codependent, like abusive relationships?
No, I don't think
he meets her torturing her, dude.
They have differing ideologies, but they respect each other's like skills,
dude.
And then so they want to turn each other to each other's side.
He was torturing her in a chair when they first like had their first like real moment together.
He does that a lot.
It's his pastime.
And she saw through
it's his Sunday special.
She saw down into like the softer part of
Christina's
his
really feeling this love story.
Wow,
look
dude.
at her. She's
wow. All right.
But no, I do like the idea of having that. But here's the thing: it's a trilogy. That's like kind of the magic of it. Like, you know, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
The breaking up. Like I feel like with these other movies, talk about like Harry Potter and The Hobbit and Twilight, where they've done those things. It's like whatever. But because the magic of this movie is like the magic of 3,
right?
You know, it just I feel like there'd be more of a backlash.
I hear that. So, pedaling back to this JJ thing. Apparently, a lot of the editing decisions were made without his consent or his knowledge. So a lot of the things that changed were, and honestly, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but I picked up on this, the scene where Leia lays down, and then she intervenes in that fight between Kylo and Rey.
Yeah, that was.
So the
But I
reason
do
she's
feel like
holding
they
the
had to kill
medal,
her. They did have to kill her. So.
yeah, but the reason she's holding the medal is because she was using that medal to summon the memory of Han Solo. That was Han Solo's medal in her hands. So Leia's the one that projected Han Solo.
Is that real?
That's the story based. So that was JJ's version apparently.
Okay, I like that a lot better than
Yeah,
what
that
we
makes
got.
more
Me too.
sense.
And
Yeah.
it
Me
does-
too.
I actually really like that.
Me too.
Because it would bring a full circle to like them both of them being
Yeah.
the greatest influences.
And then
Right.
it would also show Leia's power.
Although,
that she could
however-
do that.
yeah.
Right.
Well, Leia is like, that's the thing. Like, Leia is very strong with the Force. There's no denying that. She
Yeah.
always has been strong with the Force. Like, she knows. So,
But she's
um,
not a Jedi Master.
That's the thing. I would have. Okay, I love the idea of Leia being a Jedi, like little Saga.
Jedi's fine. Jedi
Yeah.
Master is not.
Well,
Why?
Because she's
'Cause
not
she's
a master.
sexy. She's sexy and hot, so she can't be a Jedi master.
No, she's just not a master. There's been plenty of female Jedi Masters, but I'm sorry, she's not. She hasn't earned that title. We haven't seen her earn it on screen.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only point that I
Yeah.
agree with, because like she would have earned it had it been even talked about in
Yeah,
Force
as a
Awakens.
general.
Maybe
an
they're
army.
gonna do another prequel movie.
Oh,
We're gonna see the
don't
story of how
say
Leia-
that out loud ever. But anyways, like it's just the fact that they introduced it in this movie in a flashback where like it was very obviously like a retcon, and it's like
And here's
don't say that right
And,
now.
and,
like in
and
this
here's
movie.
the thing. Like, I can totally believe, like, after, like, Return of the Jedi, Leia being like to Luke, like, teach me. Like, I can totally believe that happening.
She would be the first one he would teach. And the thing was, like, when
Yeah.
Force Awakens came out, that was one of my top 3 questions. Was like, okay, so
Why is she not?
did he train her because she's the second most powerful Jedi,
And she's the type of person who,
essentially.
like, goes right into battle. Like,
Right.
she has always been like that.
And then when they didn't train her, I'm like, okay, so they went with a different decision. It's fine.
She's a
And you
general.
can't change it now. You can't change it like you can't have both. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was a problematic choice. One, because Carrie wasn't around to do the role right. Okay, like she's like they had to use found footage of her to tell this part of the story. And I'm sorry, but this is a fucking bigger story than something that should be using found footage. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work for me,
yeah,
dude. This
Just
doesn't
not
work
quite
for
there
me.
for sure.
They could have
It's not.
done. They could have done a Leia trilogy instead of the Rey trilogy.
No, no, I don't want. No. Like
Leia trilogy.
If-
Why?
so
They had that. It's called 456.
so
No, where she becomes the Jedi Master.
one of the
I
other
would watch
things.
that. I would.
One of the other things we haven't touched on is the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, can I just say, like, what the fuck, useless motherfuckers, those guys.
They're
First
like
of all,
stormtroopers, man.
they
Were they in a Star Wars movie or were they shooting a heavy metal video?
and they were like,
what the
following people with
They're
medieval
so emo.
weapons?
So emo. I loved it.
Why were they like following people with like medieval weapons?
Because Kylo's carries the broadswords.
No, he carries a goddamn laser sword. Sorry.
I
plasma
really
sword,
hope
whatever.
that like Kylo like made the wardrobe call and like
Yeah.
the thing like you need to wear this.
You need to wear chains.
need to look
Why? It's
medieval.
impractical. No. Trust me. Wear the
Yeah.
chains.
Girls
He's
dig
got like
chains.
he's got like a deep desire.
And they didn't even have vibroblades. They were just normal,
Yeah.
conventional weapons.
Can I just say, Kylo took 3 hits. One of them was in the face, and he didn't take a scratch. That's how useless your goddamn Knights of Ren are. They can score 3 hits on the baddest swordsman in the universe, and it doesn't kill him because you guys are using blunt weapons.
The best
in the
was-
Star Wars universe.
The best was during that fight. You remember when Kylo bends over in front of everybody with the lightsaber braced behind his back
Yeah.
for that contact? He telegraphed that move by like 5 seconds. Like he was bent over for 5 seconds with his lightsaber behind him to parry the shot
Yeah.
that was coming from behind.
Yeah.
And they didn't adjust their
it's-
attack.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, choreography. There's a lot we can talk about with choreography.
that was the biggest failure in the choreography for me, but the rest of the fights were pretty
But
fucking
Kylo
dope.
looked real cute.
I feel
Yeah.
like there was
Tell ya.
way too much hype for the Knights of Ren.
There
And-
was for what
And
has
they
been
didn't even
delivered.
try to live up to it. It
Because
was
there's
just
the comics too, the Knights of Ren,
Yeah.
right? And I think they're much
They
more
look
explored
scary.
there, and
They had
it's interesting.
potential.
Oh, really? They were just surveillance. They're just following Ray around.
The Knights of Ren are okay. If there's a smoking gun to back up the theories that are floating around about this need for fan service and to move away from what JJ wanted to continue through with The Last Jedi, that's it. It's the Knights of Ren, because they literally played no fucking role in the story at all. It's almost like Disney was like, guys,
Wait,
you know what?
Why is that?
We have to sell some Knights of Ren figures, right? Let's put them in this movie, because people were screaming for the Knights of Ren after The Force Awakens,
But they
right?
didn't make them look cooler. Like, no kid is going to be like, oh, I want that. Like, they just got defeated.
No. What's gonna happen is a kid's gonna look at that toy and go, "Who's that again?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
They
it's
didn't
not
do
even that they
anything.
don't look cool.
Exactly.
They just aren't memorable in any way.
Ex-
Maybe
Exactly.
maybe in the 40 minutes of extra footage they do something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And
I
then
just can't get over how like stupid their weapons are. The Praetorian guards at least had like electricity.
Blades. They had
Is that
vibroblades.
vibroblades? Whatever.
Yeah,
like
like vibroblade. Yeah.
because like Mando doesn't have that, and he has a
No.
vibroblade.
No. But
There's a vibroblade, and then there's the one with electricity. Is that the same thing?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Like they at least had those, which could fight things. Which can fight laser. Lightsabers. I almost said laser sword.
The
Jesus.
guy, what's the name of the villain in Solo again? The guy played by Paul Bettany.
Oh shit! What's his
I
name?
don't remember his name.
Yeah, that cool
he
like
was-
knife
he had
knife
those.
thing.
Yeah.
He had those too. He had those too. Okay, so the other character we need to talk about is Rose.
Yeah.
I was really upset that I think I mentioned this
That
last
was
time
upsetting.
too, that she was cut for so much time, because I never hated her character at all. I thought she
No,
really
I didn't
embodied
hate her at
Star
all
Wars
either.
and like, you know, this person coming from like the bottom
Yeah.
and really wanting to make a difference.
Yeah.
Like, I think she embodied that.
Yep.
I just, the storyline wasn't really my favorite storyline, but they kind of, I feel like, sidelined her a lot. And
They
I'm like-
did.
and
Yeah,
They
I'm
I
literally
feel like you
sidelined
can't do
her.
that. If she kissed one of the main characters,
Yeah.
you have to like address
They
that.
never
You have to,
talked
like,
about it.
go
somehow,
somewhere.
yeah,
Well,
there has to be
not
some
only-
resolution.
Not only do you have to address it, but like you can't make a big deal about this character, do a huge marketing push for her, and then because the fans scream out against her, you
And it's
can't
not
push
all
her to the
fans.
sideline.
It's
It's not all
yeah.
fans.
It's a certain like subset
Pieces of
fans.
shit fans.
She was okay. I found her character a little bit annoying, but I didn't hate her. It
No,
was
I-
fine.
no,
The
I
big
didn't hate
issue
her
with what
either.
happened with her is that you could like not like her character, you could not like the arc. A lot of people like use that as a chance to diss the actual actor, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't
then
find
some people,
there was
Which
no problem
happened to
with
her.
the acting.
And then-
Which
Yeah,
happened
which
to her.
never should have happened.
and then
for
also
sure.
people
Yeah.
use that as an excuse to be racist towards her as well, which is what got
Yeah.
her off
I just found her
Yeah.
a little
which
bit
is-
like fangirly, but that was like her character. That's who she was. So it's fine.
There's
whatever.
fangirls in Marvel. There's
Yeah.
fangirls
Yeah.
everywhere,
yeah, like
right?
Miss Marvel is a big fangirl.
That's fine.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm a fangirl sometimes
Yeah.
in real life, so I
Dude,
get it.
dude, Agent Coulson in the first Avengers movie was carrying around Captain
Oh, yeah,
America
he was,
cards
just to get a sign.
Yeah.
in his blazer
Yeah,
to
for
get
sure.
signed. Like,
Like,
that was a really cool
in
moment.
The Last Jedi, like I didn't like her character the same way I didn't like Finn's character in the first in The Last Jedi, because like their entire storyline was like you can say whatever. Like I'm not saying anything about the actor. Like what happened to her in real life is bullshit,
Right.
obviously. But it's like it's interesting that you point out like them sidelining her because like of the fan outcry. Because I'm the first to say like, yo, like, I've said this before in this podcast. Like somebody shouldn't make the filmmaker change anything because they feel some sort of ownership to that work.
Yeah.
But like it's interesting actually that you said that, because there is something to be said for what do you call that? People not liking a character. So like a character not testing well,
Right.
Mhm.
right? Like and I do give them a little bit of credit for at least putting Rose in, because I've also seen it where a character just doesn't show up.
Yeah.
And it's like, especially when you watch BBC, like BBC shows, they'll just kill a character in between
Yeah.
seasons.
It would have been so easy for them to just like address whatever happened between.
They never
They
address
just
it, yeah,
needed
yeah.
a sentence.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all. Like,
yeah.
oh yeah. like-
Although that is dodgy ground too, because the number of one-liners to explain things in that movie was critical mass. Like
Yeah,
we
but
did
that's
not
the
need
kind of
another
thing-
one.
That's the kind of thing you could explain in a one-liner without them directly saying
Yeah.
why their relationship
sure.
changed.
But at least like, you know, like towards the end she did stuff like
She did.
the god awful like charging the trench with horses, like space horses.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too, is that we see her in that big final battle,
Yeah.
right? But during when they were loading up to go on the battle, she was supposed to stay behind. So what does that tell you? They shot that scene after the fact.
Oh yeah.
But I do like
think
her
so.
character better in this movie. Like I thought she was more mature.
She did nothing.
Okay, but she's like more mature and she like knows what she's doing with the computers, whatever.
So,
like,
I do believe. Yeah, go. Sorry.
I think there was like somehow character growth there, but like
She
they
was-
just sidelined.
She
her.
was a different Rose a bit.
I do want to
Again,
say
though,
that
I
like
think it's a smoking gun though,
Yeah.
because like if you watch the final battle scene, she's in it, right? But before they leave for the battle, she says, "I can't go with." Or no, sorry, that's when they
That was
leave
when
to
they went
go.
to Pisana.
Right, when they go to Pisana. Right. Sorry. Okay, you're right. My bad.
Yeah.
My
So
bad.
like I do want to say that like I didn't like her character.
Always
in,
looking for
in,
smoking guns. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't like her character in The Last Jedi. Well, I mean, there's not much to like in this movie either. But it's like it's because it's like it's just like in my opinion, it was kind of like a useless character. And there's a big thing with like the whole her sister sacrificing herself to save everybody,
Yeah, that
and
was
then
such a
her
good
stopping
scene.
Finn from like your sister gave like you're just like pretty much taking away from you. So it doesn't matter. But I do want to say that like a lot of people have like blamed her for like the bad scenes of this movie, and it's not hers to take. Just because she was central to those scenes, like you know the scenes I'm talking about, like the scenes that everybody hated in that movie. Just because she was like pushing those scenes, it's not her fault. She was just doing the goddamn script, right?
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
know.
fans were like pointing to her. It's like that's
Yeah,
not-
like if you like got casted in a Star Wars movie
Yeah.
and you're like an actor and you're like you know what I mean, and notoriously these scripts are very hard to change. Working with George Lucas, I think Anakin Skywalker or Hayden Christensen had a lot of notes about Anakin Skywalker, but he's like, no, this is the way you're doing it.
Yeah.
And so you kind of do what you have to do. Like this really has nothing to do with the actors. You can definitely like not like a franchise, or you can be disappointed with a movie. It's very ridiculous to take it out on the people who are acting in them.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. No. I completely.
Anyways.
It's definitely the storytelling and
Yeah.
not the.
But
act-
moving on, there's actually one thing I did want to kind of mention. I don't know if we talked about it. So throughout the movie, Finn keeps saying like, Ray, there's something I want to
Yeah.
tell you. And I think we're all assuming, at least at first I was assuming like, oh, he likes her. But on we've been hearing other theories or another thing, I think from maybe JJ even himself saying
Yeah.
like, he wants to tell him like, I think I have the Force. Like
Yeah,
I think
he
I
is
feel
Force
something.
sensitive.
oh, that would be
Yeah,
cool.
he is force sensitive.
he is force
That would be
sensitive.
cool.
Yeah,
Which he 100%.
yeah.
Which I'm against. Like I'm definitely against it because they used it exclusively as a plot device. He never used it as character growth. He's never used it to do anything except for solve like the next thing. Because there's a lot of scenes where it's like, how do we get from point A to point B? Finn has the Force. Like you literally made him
Yeah.
force sensitive so you can have a better time writing this script.
Yeah.
Again, if it was
That's not
something
how you
that's
do
like,
it.
if it was sprinkled out through, I'd like it because I do like the idea of a former
I like the idea of a
stormtrooper.
Yeah, that would be
Force-sensitive
cool.
becoming
man.
that. And I think you can kind of like at the beginning before we watched Force Awakens, I think we thought John Boyega's character Finn
gonna
was
be a
going to
Jedi.
be because he was the
Because
one
he
with the
had the sword.
lightsaber,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we got the turnaround with Rey, which was awesome and cool. I really did enjoy that, and I can believe him being Force sensitive. I didn't see it that way, Chris, but I think you are right that they did use it as like a point A to B thing.
Okay. In
It felt
retrospect,
to me more like he was trying to tell her that he liked her, but yeah,
no, it's no. I think it was definitely about being force sensitive for sure.
that would be better.
But-
But I don't know.
In retrospect, who here feels that a better sequel trilogy would have been Finn developing the Force and becoming a Jedi as a former stormtrooper? I do, 100%.
I don't think
So
I like if they would add that in, but I don't think that would be the only
okay, so
thing.
like no Ray is what you're saying?
No. Rey's still in the story, but she's playing more of a supporting role in
Mhm.
terms of because the way that I
I didn't have a problem with Rey as the force sensitive one. But
I
yeah,
like
it
she's
would've
like
been
a
cool.
scavenger girl
Yeah.
too. You know,
To be
Sure.
honest, I like so there are a lot of decisions that so we'll get into this with the Last Jedi. Like I don't know what you know of my views of the Last Jedi, but I'm talking to you, Frank. But like, don't get me wrong, I loved a lot of the decisions that Rian Johnson makes.
Yeah.
Like, and we'll get into it in our episode. But like,
Yeah.
I do think that like almost all of it wasn't like executed right, or
Right.
whatever. But like one of the main decisions I loved with Rian Johnson was Rey has no lineage. You have no lineage.
I love that decision too.
You were a balancing force because Anakin was a balancing force, right? Like your parents was nobody. You're a balancing force. Like, and I love that decision. And that's a decision I would have loved for that trilogy. Was like, you're not a Palpatine. You're not a Kenobi. You're not Skywalker. You're like the hero that we need, like the new generation of hero we need, like disassociated from all this other baggage from all the previous trilogies. Like that's what I wanted.
That would have made it more believable too if they did a stormtrooper force sensitive person.
Just before we watched The Rise of Skywalker, an idea had come to me, and my idea was this. Because I've always had trouble justifying why Rey was so strong in the Force, right? Always. Because, like...
Really?
Dude, her power set in Force Awakens...
But it was justified with Kylo Ren being that powerful, because she's the balancing force.
Okay, but... Okay, so you're saying that Rey's powers were equal because they're a dyad? That's it?
Not her level of training. I do agree with you there. Like she did things, so she never should have beaten him in a lightsaber fight
in
ever.
the first one, yeah,
ever, because
Yeah.
that's exclusively training, not
Well, the
force
fight never
sensitivity.
should have got that far. There shouldn't have been a lightsaber battle at the end between someone who picked up a lightsaber for the first fucking
Yeah.
time.
No, I
and-
think there
and
should have been a
Kylo Ren.
fight. I think Rey should have lost that fight because it would have made Kylo look better for the next trilogy for when he finally loses. Listen, every time after Force Awakens, I see Kylo Ren fighting Rey. I'm like, I can't take this seriously because you've already lost to her and she has no training, and now she's got more training. I don't find you imposing whatsoever, right? So like, I think that fight should have happened, and she should have lost, similar to how Luke Skywalker lost in Empire,
Yeah.
right?
Sure, but Empire was the second film, right?
And you're always talking about not redoing the old films if they do it. Yeah. So,
No.
I'm a little aggro.
I'm not arguing that you know your point is off. What I'm trying to say is that okay, again, me and my own headcanon, like whenever I come out of a movie, I'm always kind of trying to write it better. It's just how
Me
my
too.
brain works.
Me too.
And what I would have had is you remember as Starkiller base is blowing up and shit?
Mm-hmm.
I would have had something kind of very similar to some of the shit that Rey used to climb in the Death Stars and have her scale over the chasm and basically escape Kylo's pursuit. Like that's what I would have done. I wouldn't have done the lightsaber fight because one, it was fucking too early. Two, and then two, it wasn't realistic. Like
Right.
it just wasn't realistic. And the fact that Kylo caught up to them as they're running away,
Yeah.
and he ends up being in front of them, it just didn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, that was so
Right?
stupid.
Like you know, if it's a pursuit, it's a pursuit,
Yeah.
right? But don't end up like almost 100 meters in front of them.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
anticipating
you
like-
got a
like
secret tunnel.
and
You never
anticipating
Yeah.
and anticipating the direction they're going in.
Right.
Like granted, yes, Kylo, you have the Force, but like I don't know if
Okay.
like tracking is one of those power
Yeah,
sets
so
or not.
you're saying like there should have just been like a crazy scary chase scene.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah,
crazy.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
sure.
and I would have had Chewbacca fly in on the fucking
But
Millennium
the thing
Falcon
is like,
and had some sort of crazy
Yeah.
escape thing based on Rey's skill set.
yeah,
her existing skill set.
That'd be pretty cool. Except like, I think because they introduced her wielding the lightsaber in the movie, like they made such a big deal about her, like because the lightsaber is her MacGuffin in that movie, right? Like, it was
But
like
she should have been terrified of that fucking thing.
yeah, but
right?
but that's how you do a climax. So she was terrified of it until she needed to do it for the
okay,
climax,
you're right. You're right. That's how you do a climax, but it didn't need to be there. There was a better way of doing
I
it.
think it should have been okay. So I think I will combine my ending
Sure,
with your
okay,
ending,
sure.
where they should have had a fight with her just trying to get away, trying to get Finn and get out of there, and like combine
More
our
manic.
chase scene.
Like she needs to be
Yeah.
more manic.
Basically
I would say.
backpedaling.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
trying to like survival
she's
instincts.
trying to
That's it.
live, because it's like, listen, I have the same power as
Yeah.
you, but you're a sharp weapon and
Yeah.
I'm a rusty like junker.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is me like running for my life because
Yeah.
I need more training.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for sure. Like, I would have liked that a lot
And
better.
Chewie could have flown in and just barraged him with fire from the Millennium Falcon.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
why didn't he just
See?
fucking shoot this dude that killed his?
See, that would have ended way
This-
better.
that
That
You
would've
guys
would've
are
ended-
listening. We're on the Force Awakens recap.
Well, no, I think this is a Star Wars recap because we already did part one
Yeah.
anyway. So
But no, I do agree that the fight. See, this is the thing, because when you compare it to the fight scene that they have in Rise of Skywalker on the on the ruins of the Death Star,
Yeah.
that fight scene I loved.
It's a
fight scene they've
fantastic
had, I
fight
love.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you talked about this last when we were doing the first part, that it was a little bit more believable in terms of like Kylo's very controlled in his movements and Rey is more just
Yeah.
kind of like out
Manic.
there.
Yeah.
No, and you can tell like he has the anger. Like his stance is angry.
Yeah.
His stance is very like open and like come at me, right? But it's like you can tell that his training is there because it's like he's honing his anger where Rey's unleashing her anger.
Yeah.
Right? They both have this like Anakin-esque fire in them.
That's the other disconnect about her being a Palpatine, is because when you ever saw Palpatine as a swordsman, he was he was lethal.
Yeah.
He was a fucking lethal swordsman, right?
Yeah.
And he was calm, he was collected. He almost had a very similar style to Dooku. And Rey's like fucking swinging wildly and gritting her teeth.
Yeah.
And,
Palpatine was never
and
angry.
like
He was
almost shitting on the
gratuitous.
floor. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
Like Palpatine was never angry. He was gratuitous. Like he was laughing while he's fighting you.
Yeah.
He's like finding pure enjoyment in it. It's not
Yeah, but he was
nothing
also
like
trained, right? So it comes back to Rey's training.
right.
Yeah. Well, still like,
But if you're comparing the two characters, like
Right.
character growth, she never exhibits any Palpatine-esque things,
Right.
which is whatever. Like
Right.
it's neither here nor
so
there.
going back to the original point about making the decision to make John Boyega or Finn be the one that ascends to being a Jedi. You guys don't like that idea?
I don't mind it, but I like Rey's character.
Yeah.
a
I just
lot.
don't understand how that would work. Like you would tease Rey as a Force user and then backpedal and
Yeah.
make, no.
And, yeah. Wait.
The, the fans would lynch
Wait,
you.
wait. I don't like the fact that Rey is so similar to Luke. I don't. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree with that.
Okay. Because I've said this a million times, and I'll say it every time a Star Wars conversation is in front of me, and that's the fact that there's just too much derivative repetition
Yeah.
throughout the entire film series. Right. We should have never got another we should never got another Empire
Or
kind of proxy
or Starkiller base.
Or
I
another-
hated-
Starkiller base.
or
I
another
hate
Starkiller
it.
base or another rebellion.
Yeah.
It should have been
Yeah,
a small group of Jedi fighting something different.
I agree with you.
Well,
Okay.
at the end of The Last Jedi, I thought that we were going to get more Force users.
Me
because we
too.
got the little boy
Tamiri
with the
Black.
bird.
I thought
So
there was
I
going to be a
thought-
time
Tamiri
jump.
Black.
I legit was like, I feel like there's
There
gonna be
was a time jump.
well, how much time had passed?
A couple years apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's why I thought we were going to be introduced to more Force users. So in that case, it would have made sense if Rey was nobody and could use the Force. Then suddenly there's other Force users. Like
I would have been cool with Rey kind of like being in the infancy of starting her own academy.
yeah,
That would have been really
I would have
cool.
liked
For
to see
what?
an academy. That
For
For
would
the
be
Jedi.
cool.
For Rise?
Yeah, for Rise.
Hmm.
But they missed
She's not a master.
they missed an amazing opportunity. Neither was Luke when he started his
Leia
academy.
could have been the
right?
general and like taught.
Well, you don't know
Yeah.
that.
No, he wasn't. Luke wasn't a master.
Well, there was a time skip between when he started his he could have been receiving training from Force Ghost.
Well,
couldn't
that's the theory, yes, but like, was he a master in terms of learning in the same way that Hayden, or sorry, that Anakin and
he? No, definitely
and
not.
Windu and da 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 da, right? No, right? Or
Yeah, like I
Qui-Gon,
feel like you don't have
no.
to be a master to teach
Right?
people things. Obviously, like it's going to be better if you are a master in teaching.
Okay,
people things,
do you guys remember how much training Rey has had in The Last Jedi? She hit a bunch of rocks.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think that's enough to?
No, I don't.
Okay, cool.
No, I don't.
But she can do it, and like since they're pressed, if I could do magic, and I know that anybody can do magic, then I'm going to teach you as best I can.
Yeah,
So,
but they
like,
had Leia, right? Oh, I guess like that was a retcon
Yeah.
during the movie.
But yeah, like, that's one of the things that really excited me about Rian Johnson is because I saw him taking the story in a really crazy direction, right? That whole Prime Jedi thing, the mosaic on the floor of the temple.
Okay, yeah.
Remember that shit?
In Last Jedi, yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to know what that fucking was because that was cool to me. Like that was really neat.
Yeah.
Plus there was all these other Force users being introduced into the Star Wars canon. There was the Bendu in the Rebels. There was the son of Mortis, the daughter.
Okay, this is something I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
I don't care much if Finn is Force sensitive. I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like Rey as a character.
Yeah.
I would have loved to meet other Force
Yeah.
users that are like the groups that you're mentioning for
Yeah.
them to like interact somehow or to sort of do that. Because the big thing about this movie we saw was like if we call, people will come and help us. And that was kind of Poe's thing, like trusting that they would.
Yeah.
I would love to see like these other factions
Exactly.
who are still like fighting because there's still the Force out there. Rey is
Yeah.
not the only one
Yeah,
with the
that
Force.
would've
She doesn't have
been
a
cool.
monopoly on it.
What I would have liked in Force Awakens, so if we're doing like our own takes in like remaking the trilogy,
Sure.
was it should have been a fight to to find all of the Force users. Like it should have been like this, because like Force sensitive people aren't gonna stop like being born just because you destroy the Jedi and just because you destroy the Sith. They're just born, right? So it's like that should have been the big MacGuffin that everybody was like fighting over. And
Right.
like if okay, so Knights of Ren. So imagine this, I do have to like say that Kylo Ren turning evil off screen was a nice touch. I did like that for sure, because you could like reveal that slowly in The Force Awakens, which they did, which I loved. Like I love the whole finding out that he was not only an apprentice of Luke, but he turned evil, and he's also his nephew. That was all cool to me. So imagine this: like Luke was in the movie, Kylo was in the movie with the Knights of Ren, and they're both just like, they're both looking for force sensitive people, and Rey's the most force sensitive person that's ever been born, besides Kylo, and they're both looking for him. And like I think Luke should have played a bigger part should have played a part in The Force Awakens, and it should have been like, and not this whole, oh, there's a new resistance and a new empire. Like it's the same old shit.
Yeah, I know that. See, and that's what drives me crazy.
The worst unforgivable part was Starkiller Base had the same weakness as the Death Star.
No,
Fuck
I know.
off with that.
No, I know, and you know, we can't have this conversation.
You would figure they would learn to cover the weak spot or something like that.
Although it was, Alisa was a really cool like solution to the problem, which brought Han Solo's like smuggling ways like in finally, which was like you know, like wait for the refresh rate of the shield and then hyperspace in.
That was really cool. That was really cool. But we can't have this conversation honestly and not say that Kylo Ren wasn't a proxy for Darth Vader. He was entirely a proxy.
Yeah,
for
but
Darth Vader.
I think it's different for the fact that we never saw Darth Vader's introspection as much as we've seen Kylo Ren. Yes, we could have seen more of it, especially with his change.
Yep.
But we followed him much more, because for me, like, Darth Vader was this like menacing figure when I was watching when I was young. And I didn't really humanize him, honestly, until he took his mask off in Return of the Jedi, and I saw like this like weak man, and that's when I humanized him.
Sure, but don't give me a big bad in a black mask in a cape and try and sell him to me as something new. That's just fucking silly.
Honestly, I don't think anyone was selling him as like something new. Like it's not. You're right. Like it's
He's tied to his family's
But listen, like,
no,
like
I know.
But listen, a Sith Ben Solo is way more interesting to me than a hero Luke Skywalker like reprint. If they reprinted Luke Skywalker, you would be saying the exact same thing.
No, dude, I'm not saying make Ben Solo a hero.
But the thing is, like,
I'm saying give him his own aesthetic. Give him his own.
Do you want him to wear like a purple suit?
I just want him to have something to offer, like, something original.
Actually, but the thing is, like, it's not as if they never addressed it. That's actually like that was
like he's trying to follow.
That's tied to his character. Like,
right.
He has the mask because like thing was such an influence to him.
And that's why Rian Johnson crushed that mask. Not only crushed it, not only physically crushed that mask, but he also basically
like got rid of like the
symbolically killed it.
Undermined it.
Right.
By what Snoke said, right? You're not Vader, you're just a kid in a mask, right? Yeah. That killed that mask. That mask was dead after that.
I don't know,
how petty is it though that JJ legit like had a scene of him like putting the mask back together?
No, I
like,
know.
You have to add that.
Exactly.
Well,
like at that point,
although I did like how the mask looked with the red.
I did like the
like honestly, like cool. It was all pettiness all around. They're all just like, oh, you're gonna be petty. You're gonna throw my lightsaber over your shoulder. I'm gonna catch your lightsaber in the next movie, bitch. It's almost like you can like cut it back to back with Luke throwing the lightsaber, and then cut it to Luke catching the lightsaber. And then
you could. Someone needs to make that meme.
Yeah, but anyways,
there you go.
But anyways, like the thing is like that is very intrinsic to his character, because it's like, yeah, like I'm not against him crushing the mask, because that signifies his graduating from the shadow of Darth Vader. But don't tell me that there's no story significance to him wearing the mask. There is, which is he's trying to be his grandfather, which is a character flaw that he needed to overcome.
No, I know, but that's just it's a crutch, dude. It's a crutch.
I don't know about that.
I hate when evil guys are always like the guy in the mask, the guy in the mask, the guy in the mask.
Yeah, but he notably took off his mask, and we like
Sure.
like I think that's actually kind of the point of this whole thing. was
And they
that-
gave him
But he
humanity
took off
real
the
quick.
mask. Sorry?
They gave him like
Exactly,
humanity real
exactly,
quick.
which
At
are-
the end of Force Awakens, when he's standing across of Han Solo, like you saw like the struggle within that.
Yeah, you did.
Which you couldn't hate him right away. Like
Yeah.
even though I was
That's
like,
one
what
of the
fuck?
best scenes in the entire
like,
sequel
I would
trilogy.
definitely
without a doubt.
100% agree with you
Yeah.
if they did the exact same thing with Darth Vader, where they didn't give him a character until Revenge, or sorry, Revenge of, not Revenge of the, god damn it.
That's the original thing.
Yeah,
It
shut
was
up,
Return
Empire
of-
Strikes Back. So like, but they didn't do that.
Yeah.
They introduced this guy, and you only really see this mysterious figure in the first opening scene,
Right.
Because right after they dug into nuance after nuance of this character,
Yeah.
and it's like he's not this rehashing of this like Nazi-esque, like, because that's what Darth Vader's like helmet was based. Anyways, like he wasn't this mysterious like enigmatic figure that was just running around being Dr. Evil. Like they dove into what his past was right away, and like I think I don't know, I definitely liked Kylo Ren from the beginning. I thought
Yeah.
everything he was
No.
awesome.
No. I liked him as a character too. I did have issue with him throwing tantrums with a lightsaber.
Yeah, for sure.
I know,
Although that was a
that was-
hilarious scene.
They were funny. They were funny as
The
fuck.
fucking like First Order guys were
Yeah.
like, oh, let's go this way.
Yeah.
It's funny
Yeah,
because the thing is,
that
I
was
can't
funny.
imagine like Leia standing for that. Like I cannot imagine her standing for
Well, I
tantrums.
think that was kind of the point too. He was like this rebellious teenager. Maybe if they made him a bit younger, it wouldn't have come across as so ridiculous. But
Yeah. And he looked so fucking young in Force Awakens.
He did,
like
yeah.
standing next to all the like the older Imperial guy or the old they're interchangeable.
Yeah,
Imperial
they definitely are.
and First Order.
Yeah.
Like you
At
don't
least-
even make the
see,
differentiation.
At least don't give me the Imperial. Like if you're trying to make this like 2.0,
Yeah.
don't show me 1.0. Like
Yeah.
you're just telling me that you just made a 2.0.
Exactly.
It's so like it's so
Exactly.
obvious.
You know what? Great example. The original Battlestar Galactica, the Cylons were basically walking toasters, right? They were silver and they had flashing lights for faces and shit. And then in the new Imagine one, the Cylons are humans. They look like fucking human beings, right? They're cybernetic organisms or whatever. That's fucking cool. That's interesting. That's a good reinvention of an existing character, right? So why can't other like what is with Star Wars and their allergy to original material?
Well, they
To
they
be
do
honest-
things like they like change the color of a stormtrooper.
Yeah, yeah.
Crimson.
Yeah, and show them for one scene.
Yeah.
No, but to be
Again,
honest,
that's another thing. The Sith Troopers,
I
what
think-
we got like 30 seconds.
I will, however,
footage of those guys?
blame Disney's commercialism for this.
Yeah.
Because I think it was like, we needed a new Stormtrooper. We can't rehash the old one. We need to sell toys. And it needs to be recognizable as Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
So they did that whole thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't excuse Starkiller Base for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, speaking of the Sith Troopers, I got to touch on this and I got to get all your feedback on this. So, Palpatine has the power, or has been building his forces for probably 30, 40 years, right? And on Exegol, right? And the first time we see these ships rise out of the ice, there are fucking fully dressed human beings in uniform. Not only the uniformed officers, but there are Sith troopers, and they look normal. They're not demonic. They're not fucking twisted. There's nothing that makes them look dehumanized. They look like they've been living under the ice in that
Yeah,
shit.
Yeah, just
yeah.
got like a nice little life down there, just
No,
waiting for
no,
Palpatine to call.
You know how he disappeared? He went to Earth, saw Captain America, and they're like, "Oh, I'll put them all into ice, and then when I'm ready, they'll just come up." Yeah, it was just.
Yeah.
But come on, dude.
Also,
There's
there
like
was-
1,000 ships.
That
Yeah.
was dumb.
There's like 1,000 ships, and they all have people manning them.
Yeah.
Like, if they had been,
They're also submarines.
yes.
I buy them, like when you guys are talking about the X-wing being underwater. I buy them being able to go underwater. And they
Yeah.
can
No,
survive
but
something.
I don't even
But-
buy the
You can go in
X-Wing, dude.
space,
I don't
you
buy
can
the
go
X-Wing.
underwater.
I
Like,
told you just need a big bag of rice.
exactly. Exactly. And they didn't have a big bag of rice on
Although,
Octo.
I will
okay?
admit that like I've softened my I don't know, like entertainment value, because I gave this rate like I
I
rated
enjoyed
this, like,
the movie, dude.
I rated
enjoyed
this
it.
5, but
Yeah.
only because like I'm the type of person that as soon as you show me like so many cracks, like I like the enjoyment factor just gets less and less. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like production value is such a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Because like the big thing that killed this movie for me was I saw the business side of it. And it's like I saw them making business decision as I
Yeah.
was watching. That's
Yeah.
inexcusable. That's like it's like watching art and the artist wrote their name in the middle of the thing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But however, like I like if I do want to give this 2 different ratings
Mhm.
because it's like I enjoyment rating was very high for me. Like
Yeah.
I loved like I can just watch the fight scenes over and over again. I could just watch this movie for its like visual aesthetic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. I've softened my view on it. My criticisms are still there. Like they haven't changed because there's still problems in my opinion. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's gone up to like six or 7.
In
Yeah,
terms of,
6.
I know that like, you know, I've also been kind of bad talking this movie, but I actually did enjoy it. I would say for the most part, I enjoy this trilogy. My favorite trilogy will always be 4, 5, and 6, no matter what.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Force Awakens. I know, Frank, that you say it's a beat for beat remake. I don't 100% agree with that.
Me neither.
But I really enjoyed Force Awakens. I like the twist with Kylo. The Last Jedi was the one that kind of like got me a little. And then with this one, I was disappointed only because there were so many things introduced. And like we've mentioned before, I wouldn't mind if it was sprinkled out.
Mhm.
Right.
So I would say as a whole, I did enjoy this trilogy. I really like the idea of Rey choosing her lineage. So in the end, when like if we kept it with her having no lineage and she just chose, she's like, you know what, I'm going to be a
I
Skywalker.
like
I'm
that.
going to be this.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that idea. So whether that Palpatine thing needed to be added or not, I don't know.
There is one thing I'll say though, like I think the trade because like Palpatine being in here was always going to be a trade off. You're selling this moment of Vader's redemption by throwing Palpatine off for something else, and what we got literally was an excuse to make Rey a Palpatine. I don't think I don't think we got our money's worth. I think trading off so like what I'm trying to say, I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say here, but like with Palpatine being here, the stakes are very high that he needs to be a very significant role because you're taking away from Vader's sacrifice. I know you're not
Exactly.
taking all away, right?
Yeah.
But like the trade-off was just to make Rey a Palpatine, and that has J.J. Abrams written all over it, and I fucking hate it. Right? It's like she didn't need to be a Palpatine, and that wasn't
she didn't.
like our product that we paid for Vader's sacrifice wasn't worth it. Right?
No.
Like in my opinion, like
No.
she could have been
No.
nobody, and it would have been a way better story. And,
I agree.
yeah.
I completely agree with you.
What I would have wanted it if we could rewind this is J.J. Abrams make the last movie, Rian Johnson make the first movie. Rian Johnson should have made the first initial decisions because J.J. Abrams would have probably respected it more and taken all these decisions because, like I said, I liked almost every decision that J.J. Abrams or that Rian Johnson made. I just didn't think he executed any of them right. Well,
So maybe they should have worked together on all 3.
they should have worked together,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Bottom line,
on
Yeah,
all
we've
everyone
been-
should have gotten
but
a room and
JJ's good at
discussed.
Yeah.
spectacle, and Ryan's like, Ryan's good at like making like decisions.
Yeah.
Right. Like they definitely should have worked together. But if Ryan started the trilogy, I think it would have worked a lot better. Like there would be no pettiness. There would be no.
Yeah, I think if it was like something they came up with together, then it would have
Yeah.
been
Yeah. So what's your last take on it?
more compromised.
I think they missed okay, like this is probably the last thing I'm going to add, but I think they missed a major opportunity too. And I think that was the title of the movie and what they could have done with that. The
I
Jedi
like
should
your
have
theory.
become the
Yeah.
Skywalkers.
Yeah.
I thought I liked that ring.
I was
Yeah.
actually very upset when I got to the end and I was like, what? Like,
I was upset there was
this was
only
an
one.
amazing
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah,
This was
yeah.
an amazing opportunity not only to pay tribute to the legacy of Mark Hamill, but also pay tribute to Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker,
Mhm.
and the prophecy that balanced the Force.
Right.
So why not do that?
Yeah.
Right? I think they missed a huge fucking opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and they could have used that as an excuse for not as an excuse, but like because you know how like Skywalkers didn't care about not having children, like you know Jedi is like such a big deal for them not to have attachments,
Yeah.
not to have children. Skywalkers didn't give a shit. Like Ben Solo is like you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
he's a product
You've
of
got a crush.
Yeah.
yeah. So no, I mean Ben Solo is
Yeah,
the
it's
son
pro-
of
yeah,
right.
of
So
Leia.
like you're right. Like they could have reformed the Jedi. I really like your theory before this movie came out.
Yeah, I was really, really, really hoping for that.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to see things like that.
yeah. So I was listening to Jedi Council. It's a Star Wars podcast on Collider, and they were talking about this movie. They were doing their spoiler review, and they were talking about how Rey ended up being a Palpatine and not being her, like not kind of being her own person. Like that was the final result for this one commentator. And she got really upset by it because she was really moved by the fact that Rey didn't need to depend on anybody.
Exactly.
Right? Rey could stand on her own, right? Rey didn't need a lineage to justify why she was so special, right? And this commentator literally broke down and cried
I don't know
because
about that.
Okay.
Because-
I think she's going through. Like,
Yeah, I don't know about that.
well, apparently it was something that meant a lot to her.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to hear that, because I heard, like, you could almost hear a pin drop in the room where they were recording, because you could hear a giant pause between the other commentators speaking up. And I think the first thing that the other commentator, his name's Ken Knapsack, first thing Ken says is like, yeah, we can totally tell it's important to you, right? Like it was a very interesting moment, but I get where she's coming from, because that's what I love. That's when I really started to really like Rey's story, is when she wasn't anybody, right? Is like, because it told me that you didn't need to be descendant of, an existing Jedi or, an existing Sith to gain these powers. Like, they kind of...
The whole point of a chosen one is you're nobody in the beginning.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, it was an immaculate conception. It's literally the Christ story.
Right.
Right? And yes, Jesus is in theory, in Christian theory, the Son of God, but he didn't have... Joseph in the story didn't provide,
wasn't a king, wasn't a Jedi,
right? And birthed of a birthed by a virgin, right? So, and Lucas really wanted to play up that. And the other thing is, I don't know if you guys heard this, but George Lucas told Ian McDiarmid at the end of Return of the Jedi, "You're dead, dude. That's it. You're gone. You're never coming back. Palpatine's dead."
Yeah.
So I think this was the last punch in the face for George Lucas. Yeah. And he didn't show up at the premiere. I don't know if you guys heard that either.
Good man. No, I'm kidding.
Well, yeah, I do agree with you that I do like the idea of Rey kind of coming from her own and being this person, which is why I like Broom Boy so much at the end of Last Jedi.
Broom Boy.
Because I like the idea that there's these people out there, that it never dies. Like, you can't kill this thing, right? I do think, again, if the story was sprinkled out right, and if we're keeping with the Palpatine sort of lineage, that it would be interesting that the fact that Palpatine, like someone of his lineage, is the one to defeat him and sort of bring balance to the Force is also interesting. Like I said, I did like this trilogy. I did like a lot of it. I guess we have been sort of, there are definitely some things that really pop out that are like, obviously this doesn't make sense. But as a whole, I was still excited to go see it. Like before each day when I went to go see it, like I was so excited.
Were you excited the second time?
Yeah, even the second time is funny because like the second time I watched it, this time I was watching with my brother, and I was like, okay, what is he gonna think? So I'm like half watching him, and he's like, look at the screen, kind of thing.
See, Star Wars is a very communal thing. It's something that you share with friends or family, and it's something that you kind of bond over, and it's yeah. So I definitely get that enthusiasm for it, for sure.
I also don't think it's done. I don't think we got Broom Boy for no reason. I think they are gonna do something with that.
After JJ retcon most of these, like we can't really hold on to these things anymore.
But we're getting the idea that they're gonna use these things to tell other stories, at least as TV shows.
I feel like Broom Boy. I think you guys are putting too much emphasis on Broom Boy.
So.
I think
Broom Boy is. I think it's a device to tell us.
It was symbolic.
To tell us
it was
that,
symbolic.
Like, to tell us that there's other hopes. But him himself is not a character, guys.
No,
I don't think so either.
What I mean is, I think
they did give him a name.
We might see Disney do that, where they make the next film one where we have to go find other Force users, or more likely, I think it's going to be a TV show. I think we're going to get more Disney Plus series.
Well, if you watch Rise of Skywalker, you've seen the commercials.
The commercial
for the next shit.
all the shows that are going to come out for Disney Plus.
Anyways,
so have we said all that we have to say on the Rise of Skywalker? Are we ready for call-ins? Are we ready to talk to other people?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready for that? All right. Well, guys, we invite you to call in. We're going to... What?
That was a loud clap.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
Be careful for your ears, guys.
We're going to post a number on our Instagram, and we're going to welcome you guys to call in. We'll provide a time, a window of time in which you can call. We're not going to be obviously able to talk to everybody, but we will try and get you on, and we want to talk to you about the Rise of Skywalker and how you feel about Star Wars right now. We can, you want to touch a little bit on The Mandalorian. Cool. You want to talk about how excited you are for Clone Wars coming back to the world in February, which I'm so stoked for. I can't wait to see the end to Ahsoka's story. Well, that's probably not accurate because she's in Rebels. So
the end of the beginning of Ahsoka's story.
Wait. Before we cut out, did the Rise of Skywalker confirm that Ahsoka Tano is dead?
Her voice was one of the voices that called out.
I know.
Today. And it was her. It was her. It was the same.
It was actually Ashley Eckstein.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Did they confirm that she's dead now?
If you take that as a confirmation, then like if that.
I think
how else is she a Force ghost?
I think she would have died of old age, if anything.
It was like 20. Yeah, she would be kind of old by now. That's
the fall of the Republic.
Right.
That's
okay. And
30
Rebels
years before.
Right. And then
Rebels
another like
happens,
20 something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
She was
Rebels,
30 in Rebels.
Yeah.
That's Luke's like zero. It looks like 2 years old or something.
Yeah.
So like she'd be 60 by the time.
Rey.
She'd be dead. Oh, well, we don't know how old.
She would have been like 90, basically.
Right. Well, I think there's a story still to tell about her too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the rumor is still very prevalent that Brie Larson may be cast to play her.
Yeah.
In a live action. I do not want to see Brie Larson as Ahsoka.
Me neither.
No.
Her jawline's
and
too.
live action of what?
Jessica,
we don't know how they're gonna do the makeup and everything else. Like, I don't really know.
It'll be CGI. I guarantee you. It'll be CGI kind of like overlay. They'll do it the same way they did Ultron. It'll be the same way for sure. I think we talked about this. Jessica Henwick. I think Jessica Henwick is the perfect casting choice for Ahsoka. She's already knows how to do stunts with swords, right? Yeah. She's trained. I think she'd be awesome.
Cool. Also, like unknown actors would be cool too. Let's get new talent in, guys.
Yeah. Speaking of unknown actors, what the fuck happened to Matt Smith in this movie? Matt Smith was apparently cast in The Rise of Skywalker. We never got to see him.
He's in the cut.
Yeah,
he's in the JJ cut.
Matt Smith from Doctor Who.
Maybe there's a JJ cut, guys.
Well, that's the other thing.
There is.
Is the theory behind the Matt Smith thing is that Matt Smith was cast to play the brother from the Mortis trilogy, and he was going to be in this story. That was a part of it, apparently. That's one theory. So there's one theory. There's JJ cut, and then there's the Son of Mortis cut. Huh. So there's all kinds of shit flying around right now. Anyways,
this is turning into Return of the King endings. 5 different endings.
There's like two. We're almost there.
We're gonna wrap
definitely
it up.
check us out on meanwhile_pod. We'll be posting up that number soon.
Yep.
Let us know all your thoughts and what you guys think. Obviously, we have a lot of opinions here.
Yep.
And thank you for listening to us rant about this for a while.
And
this was a good talk. I enjoyed this one. This was good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, signing off. This is Frank.
Christina.
This is Chris.
And Saba.
Later, dudes.
Peace.